And welcome back to Open Your Eyes on a lovely Tuesday morning. We're now moving into our third and final segment for the morning. Everyday People Feature. We're doing a feature here. And in with us, we've got the mompreneur, techie and autism advocate. Tiffany Simpson is in with us. She's an author and entrepreneur. And it's nice to see you again. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'll tell you what, first and foremost, love your lipstick. Love it.
Thank you.
It says a lot.
Thank you.
Tiff, you know, you've been on a bumpy road over the past few, but at the same time, you've got the tires and the wherewithal to move on.
Right.
I'm simply talking about the strength that you've got.
Yeah.
Talk to us about what you've got going on now as a mompreneur and how you're moving on.
Okay. Over the past couple of years, I've been going through a rough patch with my business and my personal life, right? I've been on the media a number of times and
Countless times.
yes, countless times, but I never spoke about, those challenges. It's usually geared towards the challenges I overcome, and then how I am able to produce a solution and offer that solution to the community as a business, right? But over the past, I guess, few months, couple years, I've been going through some challenges that were a bit unusual, right? Yeah. But during that period, I think that I became more aware of my true potential, not just as an entrepreneur and a techie mompreneur, but rather as maybe stepping out as an influencer and helping others to kind of look at challenges as a way to improve their circumstances, to improve their skills, and to use that as a platform to expand, right?
And so you're venturing into this step. You have produced an audio book.
Yes.
And it's called We Did It, Overcoming Challenges with Mental Illness.
Yes.
Now, it's interesting because your story, for us at least here, I don't know about your other interviews, it's always been intertwined with the special needs of your son as a child with autism.
Right.
And so much of what has really spurred you into action came from his autism. So it's just the current part of it's always a part of the conversation.
Right.
But now you're taking the focus and putting it specifically on his autism and the overall issue of mental illness.
Right.
After all these years, why is this step necessary now?
Yeah.
I think that over the past couple of years, I have been able to come to terms with the fact that mental illness can arise from trauma. Trauma of disappointment, loss, right? Segregation, exclusion. Those are the types of trauma that can cause that mental breakdown.
Yeah.
And I have seen on the media on several occasions about cyberbullying and other things, and and there has been a lot of advocacy for depression and suicide, but I think in this audiobook I was able to break down some of the thought process that went into coming up with these solutions. Not just arriving, oh, here's an idea, I can do this. Here's an idea, I can do that. But what are some of the strategies I use in taking care of my mental health on a day-to-day basis to ensure that I was in the frame of mind to come up with solutions, to see things from a different angle. And that's one of the, I also got my certificate as a master life coach.
Nice.
And then,
Congrats.
yes, thank you. And then I wanted to share with my audience not just overcoming the challenges, but a series of proven strategies that can work and that are applicable not just to situations where, you know, you might not be a person who has a child with mental illness or going through or special learning needs, I should say.
Yeah.
Special learning needs, not mental illness, but special learning needs. You might not be in that situation, but there are circumstances that are beyond your control that can trigger these mental breakdowns, this depression, and then it manifests into, these what you call it, destructive behavior, right? And it's not just, it's not always just violence. It's manifested in many different areas. But being able to keep it together, as people believe that I so casually do, has taken a lot of practice. It's kind of like going to the gym, right? Where you work out your physical muscle, you have to work out your mental muscles as well. So that's what I cover in this audiobook, where I break down, I have 20 strategies for mental health, overcoming seemingly impossible challenges and moving forward.
You said something, and it really is a great opportunity to introduce this, because we speak of mental health as it's something that other people have.
Right.
We all have mental health, just like we have physical health. And you're either healthy or not healthy or struggling to be healthy.
Right.
And so that's mental health. And so what you're saying is that it's taking the challenges and the experiences that you have had, which any parent gets overwhelmed. Any parent gets stressed out, exhausted or stuck, in coping with doing right for the children. You had an additional challenge of a child with special needs that are not catered for in the country. So you're taking your experience and how you were able to keep yourself in good mental health to have that extra energy to provide for him. And that's what you're trying to deliver to people. Is that what it is?
Yes, that's what it is.
So we can't go through the audiobook, but we can get some of the tips, right?
Yes.
Okay,
of course.
So let's say you meet somebody who identifies with you. My child they could be autistic, perhaps they have a physical disability, or whatever it is. And they come to you and say, Tiffany, the school just won't understand that he learns differently. I'm tired of fighting with them. My partner thinks he or she's lazy. The teachers think he's lazy. So talk to us about how you empower someone to keep the strength to keep on advocating.
So my first advice to somebody in that situation is to sort of isolate the cause of conflict, right? So if there is conflict around a certain issue, or you have to look at the different triggers, right? You have to be able to identify the triggers. So once you've identified what triggers your partner or the teacher, you have to start working on ways to isolate those triggers so that they don't occur as often, right? Once you minimize the occurrence of these triggers, then you can start to put together a strategy for working with your child to overcome their challenges. Now, one of the things you need to be always aware of is time, right? There's only 24 hours in the day. So for as long as these triggers are, just blowing up all over the place, it doesn't really give you the flexibility to get anything done other than, out in a bunch of fires, right? So the first thing is to not get these fires going, right? Once you've done that, then you have to look at your child's situation. Are they being affected by these triggers, because it's a back and forth thing, you know. It's not a
It's not
issue.
separate.
Yeah, it's not separate. So if you stop one, you will see the other will start to fade in the back. So once there's that opening, right, you can start working with your child on his or her confidence. One of the main things is it's a confidence issue.
Confidence building afterwards.
Right.
Yeah.
Right? So they tend to do things to get attention when they don't understand, or they need to deflect attention from the fact that they don't understand. And because everybody learns differently.
Of course.
Right? And then with the audiobook, can I just say, right? We also offer, there's some gifts that you get along with the audiobooks for building reading and math skills, right? Because those are foundational, right? And once they're able to build those, they're able to better operate in classroom settings, with their social skills, with their peers. They're able to better communicate, and then they're not as reactive. Right?
Yeah.
But Tiff, children with special needs are being born every day.
Yes.
And it's not everybody who've got the willpower to propel themselves to eventually help that child. But here is where your know it how comes in.
Right.
What are some of the first things that we should do in order to make that step in making change for the child?
Being less responsive to those, because you have to understand this is a fuel, and it's like you scratch a match and you throw it on gasoline, right? If there's gasoline, don't scratch a match and throw it on there. Don't. All right, because it's going to start a fire, right? So the first thing you need to do is become less responsive where the child's behavior is concerned. If a child, especially with special needs, know that if they do something that will trigger a reaction from you, they're going to do it just to trigger a reaction from you.
Because they want that attention.
Yes, they want that attention. So you have to instill in them positive attention. You know, those things that will give them attention, and those things you will withhold attention from them for. So if they do something that's praiseworthy, you praise them. But if they do something
that is not
praiseworthy, you don't respond. You don't respond. See, any response is attention. It's reinforcement.
And you have just broken down what seems to be a very complex topic for many people. Positive reinforcement as opposed to negative reinforcement. We react to a bad behavior, we get more of that. We react to a good behavior, we get more of that. And so, that's such a critical point. I think that you can be able to share with parents. Who would you say is the ideal target group who will benefit from listening to the audiobook?
I think mainly women with children. And the reason being is because there's a lot of pressure on them to kind of navigate their daily lives and the lives of their children, right? It's culturally one of their major responsibilities, and it can become a frustration, right? And then if we're able to help these women overcome the overwhelm and the challenge of not being so responsive. Right? If the child does something, don't scream. Right? Don't hit the child. It is actually a reinforcement.
It is.
It is a reinforcement.
And that's one of the, especially for first-time mothers. I think that's one of the things that
all-time mothers
needs to be learned.
I see parents with multiple children reacting to the youngest one.
And I'll tell you what, I'm a dad that I am hands-on with my kids. I love my picnic. And so anything that I could teach them or being reactive to certain things, I will react. So you're right. We're right. I'm extremely reactive to how they react to things. So I think this is definitely a good way for parents on a whole
it's parents on a whole
to move on. So where
Yes.
can we get the audiobook and how can we
Well,
get this?
right now you can get it directly from me. We just got our new, I was doing sales during the Christmas and I
Yeah.
sold out. So I
Nice.
I just got another
Yeah.
set of copies, so you can get directly from me. You can call me on my cell phone. It's 600-1611. The cost is $50, and you also get access, a 1-year access to our Read With Me Club and the Caribbean Max Club. That's a $500 value.
Wow.
Nice.
All right.
So for $50 you get a $500 wow.
Yes, gift. So you're able to, because what we believe in is implementation as
Yeah.
well, right? Because we can't just tell you what to do and then not equip you to do it. Because,
Of course.
you know, then it's like we're running a little rocket on you.
Yeah, you're not getting value for your money.
Yes, exactly. So in order for you to take advantage of the information offered on the audiobook, right? We also, we have the My Super Health Club, right? And in there we have recipes for mental health, right? So yes, and our little catchphrase is 10 times your genius.
Okay. All right,
it.
so you get
I love
these
it.
memberships by being able to purchase the audiobook. My final question is, you know, I think parents in general oftentimes feel very judged.
Yes.
And they're always concerned of whether or not they're doing things right or wrong or whatnot. It's interesting because in this growing culture where people have access to people on Instagram and Facebook and YouTube, they do look for parenting advice.
Right.
How open do you think the Belizean audience will be to get that parenting advice from someone from Belize?
They've been quite open. I was a bit surprised
Yeah.
during the Christmas when, well, I was dressed as Supermom also. We have the Supermom.
I did
That's
see that.
you?
Yes, there's the
Can I see
cape.
this?
Yeah.
There's the cape. There's
Yeah.
the cape. There's the mask.
And you had your son with you too.
Yes,
Yeah, he was there.
and the belt with the S on it. Yes,
Yeah.
it was really
Great
nice.
marketing,
Yes,
yeah.
I love
great
it.
marketing.
I love
Yeah.
it.
So I go to the schools, right? Because it wouldn't be fair for me to talk to the parents and not
Yeah.
talk to the kids about
Yeah.
how they too
Yeah.
can facilitate the process, right? So I go to the schools as Supermom in my boots and my cape and everything, and I talk to the kids mainly about behavioral issues, but also to provide them with much needed materials to kind of help them to understand. I also have the Read With Me Club also meets at the Leo Brother Library,
Nice.
where I dress as Supermom. And we
I was
have-
going to say, why didn't we get Supermom this morning?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Tiffany's a good guest, but we could have got Supermom
No, I
instead.
have my Supermom costume, and I can Clark Kent my way into that.
We're going to do a snap and
Yes.
then she's there. But it is, you know, I
Oh.
think one of the things we have known about you for a long time is that you are always innovative
Yeah.
in the products that you want to produce, and you put a
Right.
lot into them. And so the latest now is an audiobook, and I think it would be helpful to any mom to just
Yes.
hear somebody else's story.
Right.
And if you have additional tips as well, then that's even better.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
Well, on the Supermom show, I offer tips on overcoming challenges with socioeconomic exclusion,
Yeah.
right? Because there's also the taboos, right?
Yeah.
I'm a single mom. I have a son with autism. But after you become a single mom, then you realize how society views single mom, what they're capable of or not capable of. And you're treated as such, right? And those are some of the challenges and narratives that many women in those types of situations are unable to overcome.
Yeah.
It becomes a part of who they are because they're not able to tell themselves another story.
Wow. There you go,
Right.
Supermom.
So you can contact Tiffany or Supermom to get her audio book. It's $50. It does come with free access to several online clubs. And so you're getting more than just the book itself. That number, once again, is?
600-1611.
All right. Tiffany, thank you for coming in and sharing the details.
Thank you for having me.
All right. We're going to go ahead and take that final break now. And when we come back, we'll have our wrap up. So stay tuned.